Hi, we're the
Mouse Couple. And today we're talking about Fastpass Plus at Disney.
So let's get started.
So what is Fastpass Plus, Robbie?
So Fastpass Plus is essentially a reservation for the rides and attractions at Disney World. So it can cut down your wait time pretty drastically. For example, like Flight of Passage might be a 180-minute wait standby, but it could be a 20-minute wait if you waited with a Fastpass. And you can pick your times and your rides you want to experience well in advance of your Disney vacation.
How far in advance?
So if you stay on property, resort guests get a 60-day window, so they can book it 60 days before they start their vacation, and that's for the entire length of their stay. So 60 days from the first day of your vacation, you can book it for your entire vacation.
So 60 days before at 7 a.m.
Yes, it opens at 7 a.m. Eastern Time, 60 days before. If you are not staying on property, you can book it 30 days before each day of your vacation. So you can't do the whole vacation unlike the on-property guests can. Now, another category that is not mentioned very often is club level. If you are staying club level at Disney, you can actually book 90 days in advance. And one benefit to club level is you can actually buy more fast passes. So you can spend $50 a person per day, minimum of $150 total, so minimum 3 days. And this gives you 3 extra fast passes that can be used in any park. And the whole tier system kind of goes away with the club level fast passes as well. And we'll talk about the tier system in a little bit. As a Walt Disney World guest, you are able to book 3 fast passes per person per day in advance of your Disney vacation. Now, these fast passes have to be within the same park. So for those that plan to do park hopping, you can pretty much only book for your first park. You can book more than 3 fast passes afterwards, but we'll talk about that in a little bit as well. And then as far as how to book, we will show you how to do that in the app. So when you first open up the app and come to this homepage, click on that middle plus sign and select Get FastPass Plus, which will prompt you through all the selections and allow you to choose who will be booking the FastPass and what park you want to choose, and then select each of the rides. And it will ask you who you want to book for and each park before every selection you make, just to keep in mind. So let's select Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin
Woohoo!
as our first FastPass.
I love that ride.
For our next FastPass, let's book Haunted Mansion, one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
And then for our last FastPass, let's grab Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. And then we can click on View My Plans. So now all 3 of our FastPasses that we made are able to be seen here. And things we can do with the FastPasses now, we can either change the attraction, change the time, or cancel the FastPass altogether. So for example, let me change the Big Thunder Mountain Railroad FastPass we just made to Space Mountain. And see what's available. And then click Save Changes, and then it'll show up in our plans as the updated FastPass. Something else we can do now is change the time. So let's say we wanted to eat lunch around noon, so let's change our Haunted Mansion time to a little bit later. It'll tell us all the times that are still available for this attraction. And click Save Changes, and then it will update in our plans. Now lastly, we are able to cancel FastPass reservations. So for example, let's cancel the Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin FastPass. And it's all updated in the plans. Now, we don't really recommend to cancel a FastPass. You're pretty much better off to change it to something else you could use to change the time. If a time doesn't really work out for you, let's say you're in line for a different ride, you're not going to be able to make it in the hour time frame, and you have to change it, it's better to change it than to cancel it, because there are other FastPasses that will be available.
So once you use up your 3 FastPasses, what happens then? Well, then you have the option to book more FastPasses. But you have to do it as a one-at-a-time basis. So you book your first 3, you use your first 3, and then you see that there's a FastPass for Peter Pan's Flight. So you grab that and you go use it. And then after you use it, you could get a 5th and then use that one, get a 6th. So that's another really great way to keep getting fast passes, keep skipping those lines, and really maximize your time in the park.
Right. And these extra fast passes can also be in other parks as well. So if you want to park hop, you can do your 3 in the first park, and then your 4th one that you book can be in a separate park. So say you used your last one for, in our example, Space Mountain, then you want to go to Epcot, you can book a Fast Pass for Test Track if it's available.
And try to book your Fast Passes, if at all possible, earlier in the day. Because if you can't use all 3 of your Fast Passes until 7 o'clock at night or however long you wait, then you're losing the window of getting those extra Fast Passes. So an additional tip would be to try to book around your schedule, of course, but to keep it earlier in your park day.
Right. Because if you could book it at like 9 to 10, 10 to 11, and 11 to 12, you can get a 4th Fast Pass at 12, essentially, and then keep going on that through the day.
Mm-hmm.
So the next thing to consider is what attractions can you use FastPass Plus on? And we'll put a link in the description below to a list of all the attractions that can use it. Currently, at the time of filming, Magic Kingdom is the only park that does not have a tier system. So what the tier system is the more popular attractions are designated Tier 1, and the less popular attractions that have a Fast Pass are designated Tier 2, and you are allowed to pick 1 from Tier 1 and 2 from Tier 2. So, for example, in Epcot right now, Frozen Ever After, Test Track, Soarin', and then Epcot Forever are the Tier 1 attractions, and everything else is Tier 2. So basically you can't book a Fast Pass for Soarin' and a Fast Pass for Test Track. The tier system does change quite often, especially with the new releases of different rides coming out. So like Ratatouille's coming out pretty soon, the Guardians of the Galaxy ride's coming out pretty soon, both those are in Epcot. When those come out, those are probably going to be Tier 1.
Probably.
So the tiers might change out a little bit. Maybe Frozen will drop to Tier 2, we don't know. Because generally there's a lot less Fast Pass options in Tier 1 and a lot more in Tier 2.
Mm-hmm.
So every time a new attraction comes out, it does change things. Those two are at Epcot. In Hollywood Studios, we have the Mickey's Runaway Railway coming out pretty soon. So that might change Hollywood Studios Fast Pass tiers. And then,
but Hollywood Studios is already
has
a lot going on right now with all the Star Wars attractions.
They do. And then in Magic Kingdom, with the Tron coaster coming out pretty soon, I'm kind of curious if Magic Kingdom's going to move to the tier system once that comes out. Because that's going to be a very popular attraction there, and they don't have a tier system yet. So we shall see. But speaking about the Hollywood Studios tier system and how they have all the Star Wars things going on right now, the Rise of the Resistance ride currently does not have a Fast Pass. They have something that's unique that Disney's doing, and it's a boarding pass. So how this works, when you open up the MyDisneyExperience app, you can click on the 3 lines to the right-hand side and click on the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge option, which brings up a whole list of everything that has to do with Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, including the Rise of the Resistance boarding pass option. And here is where you are able to join the boarding group if it's still available. At the time that I pulled up this video, it was no longer available for the day, which is okay because we are not in the parks right now, so we don't want to take it away from somebody if they are wanting to do it. So, but it does fill up quickly, and once the park opens, you are able to join the boarding group, and it'll give you a certain group number, and then your app will alert you when your group is called to board. So that's something that's different and unique that Disney is doing for Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, but specifically Rise of the Resistance. So I'm interested to see if the other rides coming out pretty soon do something very similar to that, because it's kind of interesting to be essentially in a virtual line where you can do other things while you're in line.
And you can still get your 3 Fast Passes on top of being in a boarding group.
Right. It's essentially an additional Fast Pass that you can grab for a random time. Mm-hmm. So something interesting. So each Fast Pass gives you an hour window to use the Fast Pass. But if you cannot use it within this hour, there is a buffer time that Disney does have. They do not really advertise this too much, but it's essentially 5 minutes before and 10 to 15 minutes after your Fast Pass time. So if you're running late, it's okay. This is not always the case. It does depend on the cast member working there, but in general, it's always worked for me to do 5 minutes before and at least 10 minutes after. So something to note when you're planning your day, that you don't have to be there within each hour. but it's best to be there within each hour to make it easier on the lines throughout the day, because that's how they plan out how busy the day's going to be. Some nighttime shows, such as Fantasmic and Rivers of Light, offer dining packages as well, which gives you a reserved seating for the show, plus dinner for a little bit more expensive than the dinner alone, but this does save you the Fastpass and allows you to book an extra Fastpass if you were planning to use one on one of those shows.
So what happens if the attraction you have a Fastpass for breaks down?
So, for example, one of my recommendations for Fastpasses is Test Track, which breaks down pretty often, especially if it rains, because they have to shut the ride down because the track is wet. So if this breaks down during your Fastpass time, your Fastpass becomes like a magical Fastpass and can be used in any other ride within the same tier anytime during the day. So you can come back to that ride later in the day if it's open again, or you can use it for, say, if it's Test Track, you can use it for Soarin'. And the time doesn't matter at all, and you can just walk out of Soarin' and scan your Fastpass. So as far as our recommendations, Hannah, what is your recommendations for Magic Kingdom's Fastpasses?
Magic Kingdom, my family usually grabs Fastpasses for Space Mountain. Splash Mountain is another favorite that we use our Fastpasses for. One that seems weird, but a lot of the time seems necessary, is Peter Pan's Flight. For some reason, Peter Pan's Flight always gets a really, really long line, so we'll either Fastpass Peter Pan's Flight or rope drop and go straight to Peter Pan's Flight to make sure we get on that line, or get in that ride and not have to wait in line for sometimes even an hour for
Right.
Peter Pan's Flight. And what other ones? Jungle Cruise a lot of the time is a good use of a Fastpass. Big Thunder Mountain is another one. And of course, Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin is one of my favorites.
Yeah. The only one I would probably add for a Fastpass that would be a long line and a good use of a Fastpass is Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. Because that can be one of the longer, if not longest, in Magic Kingdom. But yeah, so what about Epcot?
Epcot. Well, Epcot's hard with the tier system. There's only so many options that you can do. We usually go for Soarin', and if we're doing more than one day, Test Track as well, or try to grab Test Track later in the day. And then of course, The Seas with Nemo and Friends is another great one. Spaceship Earth. We usually don't need a Fastpass for Figment, but when we're trying to get our 3 Fastpasses in so we can get an additional Fastpass, sometimes we'll grab that Fastpass for Figment just so we can get on the ride, get off the ride, make another one.
Right.
So.
Yeah. As far as my recommendation for Epcot, I would say to book it for Test Track, rope drop Soarin', have a Fastpass for Test Track just in case Test Track goes down during the day. You have the ability to use it throughout the day. And then also I would say to do Seas with Nemo and Friends and Spaceship Earth, because those lines can be randomly long, but it kind of depends on the season and time of year you go. So what about for Animal Kingdom?
Animal Kingdom. I've said this in several videos. It's been a long time since my family's gone to Animal Kingdom. But back in the day, we would do Expedition Everest. We do the dinosaur ride. Now, we would try for Pandora if we could get it. But those were kind of our big ones back in the day.
Yeah, I agree. We always do Expedition Everest and the dinosaur ride. We would usually rope drop the safari. Now with Pandora opening up, we usually try to grab a Fastpass for Flight of Passage, rope drop, Navi River Journey, and then go from Navi River Journey to the safari and then come back for the Flight of Passage Fastpass, because we like to do the safari earlier in the morning. So what about for Hollywood Studios?
Toy Story Midway Mania. That's my family's big one, because with the tier system, again, at Hollywood, it's kind of like Epcot. You get one fancy... It isn't always a thrill ride, but one more popular ride and then others that are not quite as popular. But we would always do Toy Story Midway Mania. I'd love to get a Fastpass for Slinky Dog Dash if I could. And then occasionally we would do Rock and Roller Coaster. I've actually never ridden Tower of Terror because I am a chicken. But I think we're going to try to do that on our next trip.
Mm-hmm.
For the Tier 2 stuff at Hollywood, I don't know.
There's not really too much happening there. I love Tower of Terror. That's always a good fast pass for us to use. Rock and Roller Coaster as well. Toy Story Midway Mania, but these are all Tier 1 attractions that we've named. As far as Tier 2, Star Tours is Tier 2.
The Little Mermaid
yeah, a lot of the
Tier
shows.
2.
Which the shows really don't need a fast pass because they take in so many people at once that there's really no line regardless of when you enter. So.
But again, get those 3 fast passes.
Use it.
Even if it's for something that you may not need a fast pass for. Get it, use it, get another one.
Exactly.
So there you have it. This has been our overview of Disney's FastPass Plus offerings. And while we showed you how you can make your FastPass reservations in the app, it's also definitely something you can do online through the Disney World website too.
Right. So let us know in the comments below what your favorite FastPass to use is.
What do you think you need a FastPass for every single time? Otherwise, you might not get on it.
Yeah.
Get on the ride.
Yeah. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And we will see you next time.
See you real soon.